Okay, we're live. This is the first episode of Find the Good News Live.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here with Mike Brignac. Mike has been on Find the Good News before as a guest, but not as a co-host.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm
I know.
on the others. It's a whole different feeling on this side of the table.
It really is, man. I got a whole different feeling just being here myself, you know. I wasn't sure how we were going to start the show, but this is something new. We want to make sure that everything's stable. Don't want any technical difficulties, so we want to make sure that everybody that's tuning in knows that we're hosting this show at Mixlr.com. That's MIXLR.com. You can search Find the Good News, or you can just go to Mixlr.com/Find the Good News. When you go to Mixlr.com/Find the Good News, you'll be able to listen to the show. You'll be able to join the chat once you sign up, and then you'll also be able to download the Mixlr app. That's MIXLR app in your app store, iPhone and Android. So you should be good to go. So Mike, you had to cross the bridge to get here.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, it is.
And then as soon as I got on the bridge, a downpour, and it's just on the bridge. It's right there.
I think it's actually kind of cool because the logo for the live episodes of Find the Good News has a big lightning bolt in it. So that's kind of
and I did see some lightning bolts.
Yeah, well, when you first walked in, I heard like this big thunder crash, and I was like, that's kind of cool because
I bring that with me.
Our guest today, Thom Trahan and Kat Godsey from Brimstone Museum and Henning Cultural Center, are going to be taking the Live Wire Challenge. So, and then there's there's a lightning round in that too. So it's really, I think it's really exciting. It's kind of fitting for the show. So they're going to be talking about their Chaos Theory art show, which is actually being presented right now at the Brimstone Museum and Henning Cultural Center. And I think that the after party's this weekend. You going, Mike?
Oh yeah, I think that would be perfect. I've got no plans so
after
far.
Party. It's probably not right. I guess Kat and Thom will tell us exactly what that is. But it's going to be totally rad, as I understand it. It's going to be the 80s party. There's going to be some fun stuff, and then you're going to get to check out that Chaos Theory show if you've never checked it out before. There it is. Thunderstruck.
I'll bring the thunder.
I love it. So that's this Saturday, August 31st, 6 to 9 p.m. here in Sulphur, Louisiana. They're pretty easy to find. They're in a pretty nice spot over there. I call it the crown jewel of the city of Sulphur.
It's a beautiful little spot in Sulphur.
Yeah, it is. You can take a walk if it's not raining or if you have an umbrella. Or if you just like the rain, you can go do that over at the Grove over there, or then just walk on over. I don't know.
We're going to trees. I like the trees. You've got some shady spots.
Yeah, I love it.
A little different than my hometown. A lot of, empty area downtown.
Your hometown?
Across the river.
Oh, I got you.
The other one.
The unnamed. No, we love Lake Charles.
We do.
You know what I love about Lake Charles is a lot of my guests for Find the Good News come from Lake Charles, and there's some really great people over there. And
you do have some great, I didn't mean me, but you've had some really great guests on there.
I wanted to, just for a second, let everybody know that may not know that Mike has a podcast of his own, Feeling Twisty. I almost said Find the Good Twisty.
That's a whole different thing, and it's going to have a little red E next to it on your podcast.
Find the Good Twisty with Mike. No, it's Feeling Twisty. It's really great. My wife's a huge fan. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I think we should go ahead and get started. What do you say?
Yes, let's do this.
Wake up, it's morning. You're dreaming up a story. I can hear the way it's going, 'cause you're laughing in your sleep on the path to your deliverance, and a holy wall of light pouring through your window.
Old news, bad news, fake news. Sometimes you want to shut those signals down and seek out good news right here at home. With Find the Good News Live, I put my focus directly on good people doing good works right here in our area. I visit with artists, educators, civic and spiritual leaders, musicians, business owners, students, volunteers, and citizens just like you and I who are applying their time, resources, and talents to bring joy, hope, and happiness to our region. I discover what shapes them, what inspires them, and what drives them to do the good work that they are doing. There's a lot of news in the world, but I'm going live in our communities where people are working to make life better. My name is Oran, and this is Find the Good News Live.
I love you just as well.
Okay, so we got Kat and Thom in the house.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Live mics.
It's
Live
our turn
mics. You guys have actually had kind of a busy day today. Y'all were on KPLC this morning, huh?
Fox 29. Yeah, we're up really early. Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
the
I didn't
morning
get
show.
to watch it yet, actually. I've been busy trying to get this show ready today since this is the first episode. I'm really excited, though, that it was you guys that came.
Thanks.
You know, the whole theme for Find the Good News has kind of had that fun sort of, it has kind of an 80s vibe, you know, old tech, you know, which I'm a kind of a fan of. And I know you guys are too. If you ever been to Tom's office, which I think you have.
Not in a long time.
It's been a really long time, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it hasn't changed.
But I
much.
know
There's
you're a
whole bunch of
retro
junk.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool place. I mean, there's so much fun stuff. Every time I go over there to talk to Thom, I'm like, okay, my eyes are wandering around, and I'm like, yeah. What were you saying, Thom? Is that an old Orko action figure over there?
Yeah, you find some cool stuff.
That's totally intentional, too. It gets people talking when they come in. They feel at home in some ways.
So I have a question then. So, I mean, you guys are here to talk about, obviously, the Brimstone Museum and the Henning Cultural Center, Chaos Theory, and this party. That's sort of all a mixed bag right now, right? I mean, it's all mishmash together. For me, I got to tell you, like, when I initially, if I know nothing about Brimstone, I don't get that feeling like, oh, there's going to be some kind of really cool pop culture thing going in there, right? It's almost like it's hidden. You get inside, and I think, for me, I go, whoa, hold on a second. I mean, do you have a lot of people that ever have that experience over there?
We do. So one of our buildings, the Brimstone Museum itself, it focuses so much on the history of the sulfur mining industry and the city of Sulphur's history that we don't really get that kind of a reaction because it's kind of expected. It's an industrial town, so to have an industrial history museum is expected. But when they walk into the building next door, the big 2-story house, there's such a wide variety of things that we host in that building, and then in our other buildings as well within the almost said the compound. It's not like that. Within the 5-building complex, there's so much other stuff that goes on there that it is a little bit shocking sometimes to see the transitions between the space.
Yeah. I mean, I know just from years ago, it used to just be, you know, back the Brimstone was over at Frash Park when I was a kid. That was where the golf course, I believe, area is. And so when I was a kid, I remember that. And then they moved that building where you're at. And so for a long time, my biggest takeaway as a kid, I just remember the big block of sulfur that they have over there. So when I go over there and I see that, I go, man, I can still remember seeing that and being kind of amazed by just that big block of yellow stuff.
Right, that's still there too.
Yeah.
That
Is it
1-ton
there?
block. Yeah, it's still sitting out in the front of the building. It used to be behind the building for a little while once the depot was moved from Frash Park to its current location. But when we did our big permanent display project in 2014, we moved it up to the front of the building to have more visibility from the road. And since then, we've had people that have pulled in. They were assuming it was a big block of like styrofoam or something, but it's not. I promise you, it's real sulfur. So
yeah. So that the Henning Cultural Center, the house, basically the big white house over there. For people that don't know, I mean, that was someone's home. I'm assuming at one point. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it was the Henning family's home actually in the beginning. Okay. It was built by the Henning family. It was actually their summer home. It was kind of outside of the city limits a little bit. And then it was sold at one point to several other families held it for a little while. But then the Brack family lived there for a really long time. Her name was Clyde Brack. She had a son named Clyde Richard who then sold it to the city of Sulphur. It had gotten a little bit run down. I'd say a little bit. It got a lot run down. In the years that he owned it, it was just difficult to maintain because of the size of it and the expense of it all. But then Sulphur Parks and Recreation bought it in, I think, 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. A little bit before my time at the museum. But then the big renovation was completed in 2002. So
okay, yeah,
I remember. I'm sorry,
No,
I remember
please.
covering that as a reporter. I think it's Jason maybe was over there.
yeah, that's right, Jason
Yeah.
Barnes. He was over there.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I was amazed at how beautiful the building is.
Yeah, it was a major renovation. Just incredible to see what they did with the place.
I know the first time I ever went over there, Thom happened to be working there. I think I was making a delivery for one of the ad agencies that maybe had done something for you. And so I'd heard Thom's name a few times, and this is going back a decade or so ago. But I kept hearing about this nice guy Thom and how Thom was going to do a good job. I think maybe you had just taken over as the director or something to that effect.
Would make sense, yeah.
But yeah, I went in there and I met Thom. He was just a young, happy guy, man. I was like, man, this guy is cool. It was a cool display there. I took some pictures in there that day, and I was like, wow, this is a neat place. I'd never been in there before.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good first impression, I guess.
Oh yeah, and who knew that we'd end up being friends? I mean, I didn't expect that we'd end up hanging out or anything like that.
Right,
but it was
right.
kind of cool. The thing that I like about that place again was just sort of the surprise of it all. I walk in and I guess I kind of expected it to be traditional art, like and I don't know whatever that means. That's kind of an umbrella term, but that's kind of what I expected when I went in there. That it would be just things that I hate to say this, but the truth is, I thought it would be something I'd seen before. I really did.
Right, yeah. I was surprised at just the history of sulfur. I really didn't pay attention to it, honestly, till I started interviewing Jason and then you back in the early 2000s. And yeah, I had no idea. They didn't teach us that in Lake Charles, any history of sulfur other than it's West Cow.
But it's got deep national ties, too. I mean, it's a pretty big story. It's just in our backyard, it's pretty important, I think, for locals to know, what happened right here in this area and why we're such an industrial power now. And continuing to grow,
Yeah, that was the thing that always surprised me too, is how much impact that process for extracting the sulfur really affected so many other industries that really, to this day, kind of changed the world.
You still feel the ripples from it, for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. So we got a silent partner over here, and I'm looking right at her. It's Kat Godsey. So, Kat, you're kind of a newer addition to this whole mix, right?
Yeah, I'm the young pup, or cat, as
the
you
young
have
cat.
it.
I like the young cats.
Yeah.
I love that name too, man. I say it out loud, like Kat Godsey. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that is. It's
Okay.
my married name, so
Yeah, but it's just got a cool ring to it, Yeah, do you think so too? She's
I think it's
nodding
pretty
with
cool.
affirmation.
I am. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the podcast format.
Yeah, you ever do a podcast before?
I haven't. No, I listen to a lot. So,
Yeah.
and yours especially. So.
Yeah, being on one's a little different, and hosting one's a little different. There's all kinds of different layers to it.
Yeah.
But no, I just wanted. I was kind of cool whenever I found out that you were over there, because I had kind of seen you out in the community as a graphics designer at other entities. But now I'm seeing through this current chaos theory, and then the way that y'all sort of spun this one. I mean, how much of your influence is involved in that?
I am gonna take credit here
Here
because
we
I
go.
know whenever I can, and it was my idea to have this little big closing reception. I just knew that one of my favorite things is civic community engagement. I love going to places, doing things. I'm really big into the cosplay community, and we do Comic Cons, stuff like that. So I just wanted to, emphasize like a creative aspect to this, because it's an art show. We really wanted to bring a lot of more community involvement to this. So, I just pitched it to Thom. I walked into his office one day. I was like, hey, I have an idea. And he never shuts down my ideas. Like, he is honestly a really great person for that.
I appreciate that.
No, seriously. I've worked at places before where they're just like, okay, whatever, just gloss over that. But, I bring stuff to Thom and he's like, yeah, let's go for it. Like the flip-flop. He didn't even blink an eye about that.
I love that. Love the flip-flop.
Yeah, well, how could we forget? I saw it the other day and I forgot. It's funny how things are such a flash in the pan, and that you had that sort of spark to go, hey, this is going to be something we're going to want to remember, right? And so there are going to be people a decade, 2 decades from now who are going to go, they're going to have their kid with them and go, Daddy, why is there a flip-flop in the brimstone? And he's going to be like, well, son, you see, 20 years ago.
Legends
Watch
that would be told about it.
2019.
And I would have thought that by this point it would have died down, but we had someone legitimately last part of last week who came through and said, "Oh, this is it! Oh my God, this is that flip flop!" I still have to explain it to a lot of people, especially locals, but man, or especially out of towners. But there are some locals that are still looking for it. So
yeah, well, the flip flop. I mean, unfortunately, and this may be seen as a negative thing to say, but I think it does sort of capture our city in a certain way, because the flip-flop just isn't what you would think people want to elevate. But in Sulphur, we elevate that loose flip-flop.
I'm jealous. We don't have a flip-flop or a sandal or...
It's very unifying.
Yeah,
it's
it
honest.
is.
Our city's like Little Sebastian or something.
Yeah, little Sebastian. That's great. I do remember, and it's so weird, when I first started seeing that flip-flop in online, I went, oh my gosh, whoever did this, whoever called attention to this, I've been having these thoughts. Like I remember a few times I get up some Saturday mornings and go walk. I'll walk from the Grove to the end of Maplewood Drive and back. And so there were a few early mornings before the sun was up and the traffic was kind of low. it wasn't really hectic, I was like, man, I'm because I don't like litter, and I was like, this flip flop's been here for like a few weeks, man. I should probably go get that out of the road. Right. Little did I know,
It has a whole following.
But it would be in like the daylight. I would sit there at the intersection. I'm sure other people were doing it too. I'm like, this flip flop's still here. That's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I just think it's awesome that was another one of your ideas.
Yeah, I'm full of them. I'm a big idea person,
right.
but whenever it comes to following through, I'm afraid I'm working on that. That's a work in progress there.
Well, Tom, that's kind of cool to have somebody working with you like that. She's just like a can. You just pop the top and just reach in and what comes
we
out.
We did an idea today.
Never know.
Yeah, you just never can tell.
Yeah. Has it been fun? I mean, because,
yeah.
How long have you been at the Henning?
I started in about, April or March? Mid-March.
Oh, wow. So it's still fairly... Is this Chaos Theory show your first show?
No, we had the Works of Women and the Works of Men show.
Okay.
And then also, I think you were just starting out. Your first show was the rodeo show.
Right. I was able to do the advertising for that one just a little bit, but that had already been,
that was ranching and rodeoing in Southwest Louisiana. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all of y'all's exhibits are pretty fun. I didn't get to see the Works of Women, but I did get to see Works of Men. It was really good. Mm-hmm. I just think it's kind of cool. I don't know. Chaos Theory is a good one, I would think, to just kind of ramp up too, right? Yeah. I mean, did y'all do anything different with Chaos Theory this year?
We did quite a few things actually. So we have a whole different crop of artists because we had to push the timeline up this year. Normally it's a little later in the year, and so last year we held it in October. This year it was June. So some of our artists that participated in past shows, they didn't have enough time to create, large quantities of stuff to be in the show. So we had a different kind of crowd this year for the entries or whatever. And so as a result, I had an idea that I had been kicking around for a couple of years about this room. We were going to do a room like dressed up like some time period. And I mean, obviously it's going to, because it's me, it's going to be the 80s or the 90s, and it's because that's where a lot of my own collection comes from. So we started looking at the art that we had brought in and from various artists, and started looking at the space and realized that one of our pretty good sized rooms was going to be pretty sparse. Yeah. And so we shuffled some things around, and I started calling in some favors and bringing in artifacts. Kat raided her grandfather's house and
his attic. Actually, I went up in his attic. That was a trip.
Contacted some friends that were like-minded, like hoarders or whatever, collectors of things, and just asked them to start bringing stuff that we could use in the room: magazines, records, newspapers, just various artifacts. Yeah. To dress it up like a kid's bedroom from the 1980s. And I mean, I think it turned out pretty good. We had some good feedback for it. We lit the room well, like had some fun with the layout and stuff like that. Got some support from Care Help, and I know she's been on the show too. They loaned us some furniture, and Bayou Beds donated or loaned us a full size or twin size mattress to be able to dress up like with some vintage bed sheets that I found on Facebook Marketplace.
That's
and
cool.
It all pulled together from a wild variety of sources. So but yeah, it's a whole new addition to the show for sure.
I actually kind of love that. I mean, people walking in on one hand could potentially just look at that and go, oh, they have these collections, right? But this is really in a way a community effort. I mean, that's really...
totally. And going even back to the artists, I was talking about this with Kat yesterday, how like the whole show couldn't have or the whole room thing that what I thought was a pretty good success this year, it couldn't have happened without the art show surrounding it, the framework of the show. Otherwise it'd just be a weird bedroom in an old empty house, and that'd just be, who's going to visit that? That would be stupid. So having the artists in place and having the piece there to draw the extra attention to the show itself, I don't know. I thought it was a perfect storm this year. It really worked out for all of us.
Well, I know on opening night when I went at the opening reception, I guess that's what you call it, a reception. I'm uncultured enough to not know the right name, but I enjoyed that, and I think that I saw a lot of people who kind of were there the whole time, and it was neat to just visit with people that I didn't know. You'd see people kind of peeking in the room, and it would just generate these awesome conversations about different shows you watch, and it would just stimulate memories, or you would look in the room and see something that maybe you didn't own but you do remember.
Oh, totally.
Including your contribution, by the way.
That's right. What did I contribute? I don't remember. What? Oh, Megaforce.
That's
right.
Yes.
Words, not deeds.
Cassette tapes, Megaforce poster, the Bose Videos mug, the coffee mug from Bose Videos.
Oh, Bose Videos. I mean, I wish so bad that I had just had the wherewithal as a young person. My dad always produced all these cool little things that he would give away at the store, and I just wish I had there were certain movies I wish I had kept, and posters and like cardboard cutout things. It's just all this stuff that I see in all these old pictures I have, and I go, man, I wish I had just some of these things, man. I wish as a kid you just weren't so blow and go, and you're like, oh, this is going to be important to me someday.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, going to the video store and picking out a movie was such an experience, and our kids just don't get that at all. Everybody's sitting in their car in the air conditioning and looking at the red box. That's the closest thing.
Oh no, the thrill of going into the video store, and it had a certain smell to it.
Oh, yeah.
They all that plastic, a new plastic kind of smell.
Oh yeah.
And I never went to Bo's Video. I remember it though. I passed by it all the time. Had no idea the connection.
Oh yeah.
It's your family's. It's your dad's, but. The one in Lake Charles was Louisiana. What was it called? It's on Ryan Street. Lake Charles Video. I think it was the very first one. Foul Play was the very first movie we ever rented.
Really?
And it came in its own box still. They didn't have cases back then. You actually got it in its box, the original packaging.
This is a confession about the video store thing, and I mean, now that it's all long gone, I can say this out loud. Back then, it would have been illegal. But Dad would rent these movies, just like a lot of people, and go, want to record like 20 movies on one cassette. So he would go rent a big stack of movies, and he had it all set up to where he could record these movies, and that's what gave him the idea. He's like, man, I could actually just start a video store, and I think it was the idea that he had all these recordings. He's like, maybe I should just get into movies. That was what sort of got the bug in him.
That's what triggered him.
But I'll tell you, you'll like this. We had rented Transformers the movie. That was around that time period, and he was recording it, copying it. And I walked in the bedroom, everybody was asleep, and I saw it on the TV.
Oh,
and it was at this part in the movie that I was like, oh wait, I want to watch that part. So I go and I rewind it, and to the part I want to watch, and then I watched it again. And so then I go back to watch the recorded version one day that Dad had made, and I'm like, I'm going to watch the Transformers movie, and I put it in, and I get to that part, and it's like, I'm like, oh man.
That's like seeing a ghost of yourself right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, I screwed that all up. And that was my first time to learn. I was like, oh, so that's how that works. It doesn't just copy it. I was a little kid, so I didn't know what I was
miss
doing.
analog. I miss the analog way of recording everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was a reporter when we still did. Everything was analog to tape. Interviews were on tape, and we had to cut the tape, tape it together. And then I was at Fox, and we started doing digital, and I was amazed. I said, I was like, you can take this file, this interview, and just drag it over with the mouse
no physical anything
into this magic
easy.
box you call a computer. The digital age totally took me by storm. I was amazed by it, and that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
It's amazing
I agree,
how fast
man.
it went.
There's something special about that. Like my 8-year-old son, we've been watching old movies lately. Like he loves Ghostbusters. We just finished it. There was a time when I would try it. I think I too early. I was like, hey, you're gonna love Ghostbusters. You're 5, and he was like, I don't like this. But then now he's like, last night he was like, no, I want to finish Ghostbusters, and so we watched Ghostbusters, and then now we're watching Back to the Future, and he's just glued to it, and it makes you realize how good those movies are. But for me, I'm watching it and going, like what you're saying there. There's a grain to it, and the lighting just feels more real. It doesn't feel so manufactured.
Yeah.
The frame rate is what gets me. I hate HD stuff. Like
me
even
too.
as a kid of the HD era and all that, I hate it. It's annoying.
Totally agree. When I would watch, it makes everything look like a soap opera.
Yeah. They say it's supposed to be more realistic, but
awful.
it looks fake to me. Less real. I want it. I want the film version, just
I
like I like
totally
the
do
crackle
too.
and the pop of a vinyl record. I want that.
There's something to it for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting and I've heard my grandmother say this, talking about, living through all these technologies, like the rise and fall of technologies. And I was kind of meditating on that the other day, like what just audio alone, like what technologies have I experienced in my life? And I remember when I was a kid, my mom and dad had one of those big TVs that had like the record player and the 8-track player, and it had all that stuff in there. And, that was one technology, 8-tracks. And I can remember my buddies coming over to spend the night, and we would put the 8-track for Grease in my mom and dad's TV, and listen to Grease. And I was like, man, so that was like an old, for me, I'm going, okay, so at least I remember having 8-tracks. I don't even know what was before 8-tracks. I mean, was it just vinyl? I mean, was that it? Was there no?
And the real tape.
Yeah. Okay.
We had that growing up. We had the records and the reel. My dad had a huge reel tape player.
Oh,
reel to
really?
reel, yeah, and he had
See,
different
I've
recordings.
never seen that.
Oh, I still have some reel tape.
Really?
I have a reel tape that's got recording on it. I just don't have a reel to reel player anymore.
Wow, man. So that was how that was. See, I have a lot of pictures of old tech on the show, and it gets to a level where a time period where I'm going, I've seen that, but I don't really
It's really cool.
know what that is.
When I worked in radio, we still had one, and I was able to take that reel and bring it to work and record it, digitize it, because it has a lot of my dad's commercials from back in the 60s and 70s. He had a copier dealership, so it had a lot of his commercials on there, and so I made a CD for him and gave it to him.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome,
And it
yeah.
probably still has all the hisses and pops and all that kind of
Yeah, and it squeaks and weird. No, I can tell, when it's off of a reel to reel tape, it sounds different than off of a record, but there's still that feeling to it that you just don't get with the digital stuff.
So you guys are really capturing all of that we're talking about in that room, yeah?
We're trying, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, in one we haven't talked about, and I just want to plug this because they were making fun of me for it. I couldn't tell the difference between something called an Intellivision. I had never heard of this, and the 8-track. And they were like, "Oh, come on, Kat, you're like a baby over here." I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is.
Well, they are similar in size, and you're
Yeah.
probably looking at the cassette or whatever
Yeah.
and going, "What's similar? What is this?"
I found
Right.
a bunch of that stuff, the Intellivision cartridges in my grandpa's attic, and I was like, dude, you
No
had like
way.
the rich kid stuff. Yeah, and it's like Dungeons and Dragons and like a bunch of different things up there. I was like, Papa, like, I love that you don't get rid of stuff. That's great.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he has a lot of stuff. A lot of that stuff in that room came from there?
Just a few of the things, just some of the stuff we had piled on top, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I dig that room. I mean, I haven't got to walk through it. I just kind of, I don't know how many people got an opportunity to do that, but I just kind of stuck my head through the door. And you want to lean in a little further every time, you
Yeah,
go
not
in there.
really anybody, actually. We designed it to be like a shadow box where you can view it from two angles. And so that's one of the things we'll be able to do at the on the night of the party.
Yeah.
We'll allow people to go in and maybe sit around in the room and take some photos. We'll charge like a little fee or something as a token to, as a fundraiser in quotation marks for the museum.
Right.
We'll let people go in, and if they're dressed in 80s costumes and can take a picture in a 1980s bedroom, I mean, I think that'd be a cool little takeaway from the show itself.
Yeah, I've seen some people post some things online, like several photographers and like videographers have done some photo shoots in there. It looks pretty cool.
Right.
There was one yesterday that was really cool. The girl's outfit was neat. It like really captured the 80s to me. Had like some of Morgan Elaine's buttons and stuff on
that
her
was
jacket.
a Madison Hartley shoot.
Okay.
She worked with Ashley Gates and Jordan Clark, and they all worked together on that shoot. It was really, really wonderful to watch them do that too.
Yeah, it was
They had
neat.
their lights and everything. Yeah, they came in there like pros and just, man, did great.
Yeah, I mean, and
thing,
then I saw that Morgan had like some of her David Bowie art in there or something like that. I don't know, just everything. It seems like it's such a community effort. I think that's what's really awesome.
Well, that's the thing. And then also seeing the art in the show itself, like all the different pieces we got this year. Like we received more like weaponry, I guess, artwork that's like swords and armor and things like that.
Which was cool looking. I mean, I thought
totally.
it was really cool.
We put all that together in one room and started calling it the Armory because it's like
cool.
it's all like the same kind of a feeling or whatever. One of our artists, Ashley, she mentioned earlier, Ashley Gates made this big concrete, alien from the Aliens movies or whatever. I mean, it's stunning to see. It's huge. It looks like it'd be incredibly heavy, but it's foam and concrete.
I saw that. Have you seen
bad.
that?
No.
Oh, it's freaking
gotta
cool.
check it
I gotta get over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
She did her research, and it's supposed to be life size, like
Really?
7 feet tall. Yeah, but it's like kind of curled up
That's
and like
actually
a fossil.
terrifying if that's
Right?
actually life
Yeah,
size.
it is.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like I almost hate to mention just like one specific artist because there are so many. Like the upstairs is full of, I don't want to name all the names, but like Jim Ferguson, Abby Sands. There's a whole bunch of people that just put a lot of cool stuff in the show this year.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest. I didn't get to go to Chaos Theory last year, and this year I was like, okay. And I say that on the show. That's one of y'all on y'all's ad on the show. I always say, I'm going to change that about myself. I can't talk about something and try to encourage other people to do it if I'm not going to at least try it.
That's right.
And so I just kind of felt guilty. There's this great thing right here in town, the kind of thing that you hear people say, I wish we had this. I wish we had
Well,
that.
I do say that a lot when I see your posts, Tom.
Right on. That's awesome. You say you wish you had stuff I found.
Yeah. Well, and just the stuff you do at the museum. It's just,
right on.
You post all these different events. I'm like, man, we can do that here.
Yeah, right on. I totally agree. So how long is Chaos Theory going to be up? How much time is left? Is it just through this weekend?
Until Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday is the
okay.
last night you'll be able to see it, and it's gone forever. So.
Okay, so anybody listening, if you haven't been to Chaos Theory yet, if you want to go look at it without a bunch of people there, crowding you, this is the time to do it. But if you want to go and see it and get a full effect of and capture the whole thing, the whole feeling of it, so y'all got something special Saturday night, right?
Correct.
So tell us about it.
Oh, you're looking at me. All right. Saturday night, we have a lot of different activities planned, actually. I figured since it was her idea, she'd jump in there. No,
I mean,
I'm
if
kidding.
you want me to, you did such a great job on
I'll do the
KTLC
first half,
this
you do the
morning.
second half. So
Okay,
here's what
great.
we got. We have artists on the porch. We have some of the artists in the show, and then some others that didn't make it in the show. Will be out on the porch selling artwork in booths. They have, what do we have, 10 of them, I believe you'd said earlier?
Okay, so you're going to have art vendors. I didn't
Yes.
realize
Vendors,
that.
that's
Okay,
right.
cool. That's good.
And so we actually are really excited to have Boombox, the popsicle stand. They're coming out to the
Oh,
event.
yeah.
Formerly Pops and Rockets,
That's right, formerly Pops and Rockets. So they are very 80s branded,
Totally.
pop culture branded, and so I'm very excited to be able to work with those guys. They're going to be out throughout the evening from 6 to 9. We will also have, like I mentioned, the 80s room. We're going to open it up since it's the end of the show. Please don't steal anything from in there when you're in there. It's a lot of my stuff is in there.
I would worry about that. That would be something that would concern me for sure.
In some cases, I brought duplicates of things instead of like my originals, but there are some things in there that are pretty special. So, so just know that we have cameras. I'll be watching you. But so that'll be open for
pockets.
people. Yeah, that'll be opened. We are doing a costume contest, and that's where I'll kick it over to Kat.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so the costume contest is going to be really cool. Our grand prize is $160 worth grand prize. You can learn dancing from Amanda Yellow.
Yell it.
Thank you.
We know her. She's
Yes.
been on the show too.
Yeah, she came forward last week and texted Thom and says, hey, I want to offer this as a prize, and we were like, wow, that's incredible. So it's
great
really,
prize.
really great. So it's four lessons, which is one big session. So that's our grand prize winner. We've got a couple other little prizes, and we've got this really cool little scavenger hunt going on throughout the event for the night. So it'll be like a couple of things you can tick off, and adults can play it too, but it's for the kids and the adults. And we're going to have a very special little prize for that one. If you want to, you get tickets and you enter them into each prize that you want. If you want to go all in on one, or split it up, take your chances. One of the baskets is it's actually going to be the flip flop. So we've got
The actual flip flop.
You can win.
You're
the
giving it
flip
away?
flop.
The replica
You can
that
have
we
it.
had
Yeah,
in
the
there.
replica.
Oh
It's the
my
replica.
gosh.
We do not have the original. Don't at us. So we don't have
Right.
it.
So this
But-
it's a replica, but y'all are going to
Yes.
keep your replica, right? Or
I
is
can
it-
always
this is-
make another one.
this is the
but
one
we
that
weren't
was on
planning
display.
Oh
it.
wow! So the one that you've seen at
Yes.
Brimstone.
You should bronze it.
Or-
Get a,
I thought about that. I did. I have the other one
a
at my
good
house.
idea.
Do it.
So we might. But we did promise it'd be there till the end of the summer, and then we'd shut up about it. So,
I gotcha. Okay, well, that's
We're basically at the end of
cool.
the summer, so yeah.
Viva la
Yeah.
flip flop.
Viva. So yeah, true flip flop fans can come. I can't even say that one. Come and win the flip flop, and you will become the flip flop king or queen, as it were. So we've also got Jack Harrell coming to play some live music.
Yeah. Jack was on my show. He hasn't aired yet, but Jack, he I was sitting there listening to Jack, and the way he just moves from one song to the next, and he's playing all these great 80s and 90s songs and some video game stuff, and I was like, dude, this is so cool. This is like just fits and plugs right into what you guys are
A
doing.
good crossover, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I'm excited to hear him.
Thank you for that, by the way. You were the one that told us about.
I'm
him.
excited about it. Honestly, he's a good kid, and I mean, he's just got a good heart, and he's been kind of. I catch him now before everybody's trying to get him.
He's so
that's awesome.
talented.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just amazed. I told you off the air that I've known him since he was a baby, but we got to see him play live at Cousins.
Oh yeah, he
Couple
plays
months
at
ago.
Cousins? Okay.
And man, I love live music, but live piano, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
You could pick just about any song. I couldn't, there's no songs I could think of that he couldn't play.
Well, yeah, he emailed me and he's like, I'm so excited about this, just so you guys know. He's like super excited about it, and he said, hey man, what's some songs? And so I sent him like a whole bunch of stuff. I said, dude, you shouldn't ask me this question. 'Cause I'm like just firing off all this stuff. So anyway, I'm excited to see what he puts together for you guys.
Yeah, we are too. We really are. So after he plays, we are going to have some 80s music playing in the main part of the gallery, so you can come and bust
That's
a move on the
cool.
dance floor. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, live it up. It's not every day you get to go to an 80s party. So, and then we have our shining stars of the evening is Louisiana Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I mean, whenever I tell you these guys are great, these guys are, and ladies are wonderful. I have loved communicating with them throughout this process. I know about them from various comic conventions I've gone to before.
Really?
Yeah, and they bring the Ecto-1, which is their, Ghostbusters car.
I really can't wait to see that.
It's going to be beautiful. So they're going to be out on the lawn for us, taking pictures, and kids and adults, again, because this is really mostly, we know who this event is for.
Yeah, that's we say it's for the kids, but it's totally for us.
Family
Parents,
event.
family.
No, so they're going to be taking pictures out on the lawn, and with a donation, you can actually get your photo edited professionally, and they will put all like the plasma streams in it and everything.
Oh, how cool.
That's cool. You can suit up as one of them. You can get in the car. So
Really?
yeah, they bring that out, and these guys are great. They do all this. They are a nonprofit.
Really?
That helps other nonprofits.
Well, that's
So
cool.
they go around. They do like Relay for Life, American Cancer Society and stuff like that. So even approaching them, I felt a little bad. I was like, oh, we're just a museum, guys, but like we would love to have y'all here. So
Yeah.
luckily they worked with us, picked a day, and it's Saturday. So we're
That's awesome,
psyched.
and that plugs in perfect. God, what a great event! I mean, I know Chaos Theory, and I know it's an art museum gallery, but y'all really went farther with this. I think this event. I mean, people are going to expect a lot from you guys now with this. I think.
Let's cross our fingers that we can keep putting on good stuff.
Yeah, well,
Oh, you will.
I mean, this is cool. I mean, and I got a question. I've just been thinking this even before you guys did your show and it came up with this party. It just seems like the 80s are hot right now. And I kind of am one of those people where I start to worry about things like that, where I go, oh, it's hot and everybody's doing it, but what happens when it's not hot anymore, right?
Just keep doing it.
Yeah, just keep.
Yeah.
That's what I
And
keep
they'll
thinking. I'm
always
like,
be
keep doing
classic,
it.
though.
Well, if you
They'll
love
always
it,
be classic.
yeah. What do you think that is, though? Why do you think the 80s are so hot right now? Because I mean, it's everywhere. All the shows. I mean, Wonder Woman's coming out. It's going to be set in the 80s. The new American Horror Story is set in the 80s. You got Stranger Things. I mean, what is that about that time period that's so alluring to people right now?
For me, okay, so and there was also that show, The Goldbergs. Remember that? Did you ever see that one?
yeah.
A lot of their stuff set in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was not as widespread a show as Stranger Things, but I think it's because people that are in the same age group, like in my age group, that are getting into that, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s, they were children in the 80s. And the 80s as a child was amazing. Like we had, the things that I paid attention to was not, politics and the economy, and I was paying attention to Mr. Rogers and He-Man, and I cared about what video game was coming out next. Life was a lot lighter back then, and so it's that whole with the good old days syndrome, like the boomers went through this a few years ago, and it's like, oh, it's so awesome growing up on the farm and we walked everywhere, and so it just that is what's happening to us now. It's our version of that. But the difference is we have different icons that we were raised with than that generation was, and so I think that's what's going on with some of that. It will eventually fade away, but we'll be those old guys that are still talking about He-Man and Mr. Rogers when we're in our 80s. So
Yeah, I agree. I think we're the main demographic that spends the money and that advertisers look for, or we're in that's our generation right now. So am I hot?
No, you're good.
Okay. So I think that's what it has to do. We're driving the dollars.
True,
And so we're doing it for ourselves because we're that demographic. Just like 20 years ago when we weren't the demographic. Well, I was already in the demographic. I'm older. But, there was that phase where the 60s were big.
Yeah, right.
And the
That's
70s
right.
and everything was, psychedelic and rainbow and peace symbols. And you still have some of that now, but now it's the 80s. It's because just we're getting older and we're at that.
stepping
We're
forward,
the age in control right now.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was having that feeling the other morning. It was Patrick Swayze's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And, I was watching Dirty Dancing to kind of because I love Patrick Swayze movies. I really was a big fan when I was a kid. And I was like, I'm going to watch Dirty Dancing. And I was watching Dirty Dancing, and I think of that as an 80s movie. But when I'm watching Dirty Dancing, in my mind's associating with the 80s, the movie itself is about the 60s.
Right,
And Stand By Me, another movie that's like that, comes out in the 80s. Think of it as an 80s movie set back in the 50s and 60s.
that's true. That's a good point.
It's weird because you go, oh yeah, these are movies at that time period. It was a 20-year, 30-year.
So when your parents watched Stand By Me, see, they had nostalgia for that time
That's
period
right.
that it was set. But it's funny how everybody's point of view, there's meaning in everybody's point and how we see it, but they're completely different on what we're interpreting.
Yeah, totally. We were even talking about costumes for y'all's party, and I was talking about that with my son. He's like really stressing out over what he needs to look like and like looking at like, can we go to Goodwill and find this, and what's a costume I can do, and he's landed on something. We're gonna have to see if we can pull it off, but because he actually looks like somebody, but he's right on the edge. It's 1989.
We'll take it.
That's so close.
Yeah,
I'm doing an 88.
Do you want to know who it is? I'll tell you.
Yeah,
and because somebody told me,
is he gonna blow it for him? Is he gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, Chad, what a jerk"?
No. He's gonna. It's cool. It's Christian Slater from Gleaming the Cube.
What?
Oh,
the skateboard movie.
The skateboard movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because somebody said, dude, because his hair's got that blonde, bleach blonde, and they were like, you look like Christian Slater from Gleaming the Cube. He goes, who is that, Dad? And I was like, holy crap. You do look like Christian Slater from Gleaming the Cube.
Cool.
And so he's like all bent on getting that done. But where was I going with that? Oh, I was thinking about like what would be my authentic 80s costume, right? So I went, well, how old was I in the 80s? And so I put myself in like 4th, 5th grade, and I started thinking about, well, what was I actually wearing? Not like what was cool.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like what was I actually wearing?
Dinosaur t-shirts and what?
Yeah,
what
I was
wearing?
like, it was probably some jeans. Then I had my belt because I was a skinny kid, and I had my belt pulled up to my ribs, and a V-neck. Sports, this one shirt I used to wear all the time. I loved it. It was like a V-neck team shirt. It just was like generic team, and it had like just numbers on it. And it was like sport gray.
That's awesome.
With my little bowl cut type hair and just whatever sneakers. It's like it really wasn't anything fantastic. I didn't have a whole lot of. It was
Me
just
neither.
plain
Yeah.
clothes.
I shopped at Kids Mart. Yeah, all the way all the way through high school. I'm a small man. I'm not a great stature, but yeah. So most of my stuff is just, except for my one pair in 8th grade, I had a pair of gray parachute pants.
Oh wow!
Oh, I love those things.
Parachute pants.
and
Holy cow!
Hobie Cat hoodie.
Yeah.
My featherback hair was feathered
That's awesome.
with my thick frame glasses. Anyway, but other than that, it was mainly polos and jeans. So I could just go grab stuff out of my closet. And
you
just
fit in it still.
Just be Mike Brignac.
spike the part right here, spike my hair on one side,
Pop your
do a little
collar.
less than zero kind of thing, and
Yeah. I have
could do
memories
it.
like from the 80s, was underoos for sure. Like me and my cousins, man, it was like, what underoos? You ever have
Yeah,
any underoos?
yeah.
I mean, underoos were, you have underoos?
in the 70s I did.
In the 70s?
Yeah.
Oh man, we had them in the 80s still. And I was like, man, underoos. I always wanted to be Superman, dude.
That's awesome.
I'd take like those, those big old safety pins that had like the pink plastic cap, and
Right.
I'd pin a towel around my neck and get after it, man. Running around the
That's
yard
cool.
in my
Running around.
underwear with a
Well, we
towel
all
for a
secretly
kid.
did that.
Fighting
That's
trees.
why we wanted underoos, just to
yeah.
play, not to sleep in them.
Yeah, well, that's right. You wanted to play. It's a weird
Run
thing
around
when
the
you
house.
think about it. I mean, I've thought about underoos. I was trying to explain it to one of my kids, and maybe my youngest boy, and I was like, "Yeah, underoos. You get together with your buddies, and you put on your underwear, and you like
Fight
dress up
crime.
like Batman and Superman. You wrestle and stuff. That sounds
Fight in your
really
backyard.
What the heck, Dad?
I'll be 49 next month, and yeah, my kids frown on that. No,
I'm sure.
I think, Dad, put your clothes
You
back.
can't get. They can't get.
You can't do that. You can't do that in the yard.
Does this cost anything to go?
No, not really. It's a free event on the front, like to admission and all that. I mean, there will be stuff in there to pay for. Like I said, the boombox will be there, so you can buy popsicles and treats and things. Inside, we have an art auction. We have some of the artists that were on the
Cool.
artists that are out on the
Yeah.
porch have all donated a piece of art that can
that's
be purchased
awesome.
in an auction format. And then there'll also be, like I mentioned, the room where you can go in. All that's optional. You can go
Yeah.
in the room and take photos in there if you want, but
The fun is free.
the fun is free.
Fun is free.
And the movie as well. Also
Okay, the
in
movie.
soundtrack.
Can you recap that for me? Like, did y'all talk about the
No,
movie?
I don't think we did.
Okay.
No.
all right.
So when we started planning all this, we looked at some other ideas of organizations or groups we could partner with to bring into the. It's always better to do things as a group instead of just by yourself. And like I can throw a party all day. An 80s party in my office all day long. I do that every day. Nobody comes.
Nerd.
But if you really want people to embrace the idea, you need partnerships. And so we called Erica Martin with City of Sulphur, and they always do a thing called Movies in the Square. And they normally host it toward the fall, but I asked if they could maybe bump their first one up to coincide with the closing date for this this exhibit. And she was very gracious and ran through all the steps to get all that set up for us and to have that going on at the same time that ours was going on, so that now both events will play off of each other. And then it also helped to sell the idea to her when we mentioned that the Ghostbusters would actually be here.
What's the movie?
It's Ghostbusters.
No way.
Yeah,
the original.
So cool.
Yeah, so we're showing Ghostbusters on the lawn. Then we also are partnering with Sulphur Parks and Recreation. They're our longtime business partner. I mean, we've been working with them for years and years at the museum. And so we called and let them know about the event and when it was going on. And they have these large yard size games like Connect 4 and things like that they're going to bring out and have before the movie starts. They'll have that access.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that kids that are maybe not interested in the art show or running around not able to keep attention or whatever, they'll have activities out on the lawn for families and stuff like that. So
That's cool, man.
And the weather's going to be better. The humidity's going to be down.
Oh, dude,
That's
really?
right.
I was
Perfect.
just about to ask.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
cool, that cool front coming through.
Yeah. Well, y'all timed it
really
just
help.
right.
Yeah.
Y'all planned it that way.
This was
Right,
the
totally ordered that
we're
first.
going to
The
put
power
that
in
one
the
on the
city of Sulphur.
Ghostbusters.
called
Yeah.
Terry
They
and
had
said,
some
"Hey,
sort
we
of
need to order some weather
paranormal
here."
interference.
The other partner that we have is one of the ones that came toward the later side of planning all this is the Sulphur Library. They contacted us about a week or so ago and wanted to get involved, ask how they could, what they could do to help or whatever. And they'll actually have in the upstairs, one of our upstairs rooms in the gallery, they'll have a mobile library set up where you can like check out books, movies, etc. from the 80s. And it's like you use your regular library card. They'll have a little kiosk there, I believe.
cool,
So
man.
that, yeah, so that while you're there, if you're inspired, like, man, I really want to rent that Megaforce. Like, I don't know if they have it or not, but they'll have
Nice.
books there on books and DVDs and stuff there for people to look through and check out. Which I'm pretty excited about that. I've not really seen that done anywhere.
Oh, Megaforce, you're excited about watching
No,
Megaforce.
not that.
Oh, okay.
No, totally.
The library
That's
thing.
what it is.
Yeah.
Megaforce was a cool movie.
I got to say, if anybody that hasn't seen Megaforce and maybe just has only seen the pictures of it, I've just got to say, go on YouTube and look up the scene towards the end of the movie, and you can find it where Hunter, that's the main character, rides his motorcycle into the airplane. You have got to check that out.
We played that scene. I relived that scene, that movie, on my bicycle.
Oh, yeah.
Now, full disclosure, I couldn't ride a bike. I didn't know how to ride a bike yet. I was a very late bloomer. I
So
was a
you liked
teenager.
that. You were like
so
all
I would
about
sit
it.
with the kickstand. Still
my
in place,
gosh, yes.
in place, but I was moving in the,
Yeah, you were
I
like
was
rocking
kinda
like you were trying to get in
shooting
that.
because it didn't have stuff that would shoot out
Oh
the front.
yeah, it had the missiles and the little wings on that thing. Dude, I love my favorite part is when he gets in there and the way they congratulate him. It's just weird. Everything about it, man. But
It's a weird movie.
but I do love that motto, man. The Megaforce motto: "Deeds, not words." You can't beat that.
I had it backwards earlier.
That's okay.
Deeds, not words.
Deeds, not words. And it's funny when you go to cons like Comic Cons or comic book conventions. I'm always surprised that there's Megaforce stuff out there and it just big stacks of it because not everybody knows what Megaforce is, but it's like, oh, we found a bunch of t-shirts and patches and all this
that's
stuff.
cool.
I was like, man, there's actually a Megaforce niche out there.
Yeah, they hit like that cult status or something.
Don't you love that about the internet though now? Like if you even think of something
there.
like I wonder if like I love patches, like sew on patches. I sew them on my rucksack. And the other day I was like, I don't have a Back to the Future patch. And so I just said, well, let me just see. Oh my gosh, I had my pick of the litter, man. I could get a flux capacitor patch, the license plate patch, the clock tower. I was like, they got everything. I mean,
awesome.
Somebody's made everything. That's what's wonderful about the internet, man. You can just go touch your childhood or look at it anyway. And you guys make it so that you can actually go
Relive it
relive it a little
for
bit.
a little while. Yeah.
for a small fee.
As we've been talking
$2
about
every
it,
3 minutes.
Yeah, right.
you were describing the display, the exhibit, and it took me back. I was kind of lost in thought because I was back in my own bedroom and just remembering the race cars on the curtains and the Star Wars and Star Trek everywhere. But and your blouse, shirt, your top. It reminds me of something that I would have had in the 80s with NASA.
Yes.
Of course, back then the shuttle was brand new.
Right.
Was it?
I was a big space nerd too.
Just,
like that's
No, I bought
That
this
was a
at
big
one up
deal.
Thom actually.
Yeah.
I found it in a thrift shop in a bar. So over at Zephyrs.
Wait, a
they
thrift
do
shop in a bar?
A thrift shop in a bar. They do
It's
retro Wednesdays
sounds
over
like
at
it's the
Zephyrs
lost and
downtown.
found.
Yeah, no, it really was. Well, I mean, I was getting a little
Found.
lost, and I found the shirt, so like it worked out.
I love it when you find stuff. My wife had went to New York before we were married many years ago, and my favorite band, and I guess they're like predate the 80s, but they were popular during the 80s, was the Police. I still, that's my Lonely Island band. If you asked me, like, what are you going to listen to? You get to pick one band and you can have their whole collected works. It would be the Police. You know, I just love them. But she found me a pin, like one old, I don't know what you call them, but the little metal pins, for band pins. But it was like an actual. It wasn't like just a remake. It was like an actual old pin from from Police merch.
Oh, that's cool.
And I love it, but when I look at it, I'd never really read the thing. It's got like an eagle. It kind of has a badge look to it. But I was reading the slogan they had on it, and it says, "You be with the Force." Isn't that weird? I was like, why did the Police have this as their slogan? You be with the Force. This is like some mixed up Star Wars slogan, but it's definitely the Police's merch. I looked it up online. I was like, yeah, they were.
I was going to say,
that is an odd slogan.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really strange.
It's not even a clean ripoff of it. It's not. It's screwy. That's weird.
Yeah, no, it's so weird,
That's unusual.
man.
You be with the Force.
You be with the Force. No,
You be with the Force. Everybody here is getting the Force.
I love it. Yeah, what's your Lonely Island 80s band? Like, if you could pick.
Ooh, 80s.
You just get to pick.
I'll jump out because mine's always it's Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
Oh, you've said
Singles.
that. Yeah.
Don't talk to me about Genesis. I have very strong opinions about Phil Collins, but Peter.
Well, that'd be
Gabriel.
mine is Genesis. No,
Oh,
not
really?
really.
I will fight you.
I'm just kidding.
80s Throwdown.
Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
And yeah,
That's
it.
That's easy. That was actually, we answered those pretty quick.
Yeah.
Speaking
mine would be Bon Jovi, actually. Probably.
Would it really be?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I since the Young Guns soundtrack, which might have been 90s, but I think it was 80s. Whenever that hit, it caused me to go back through his discography as a kid and just, he was saying all the right stuff.
Oh, dude, I
Liked his
remember Bon Jovi coming out. I remember being in junior high, my first junior high dance, and it was a Hawaiian shirt dance, and I didn't have one, and I was so proud to have it. And I'm at this thing at that dance, and I was at the concession stand. I can remember getting wax soda cups.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know, they may even still make those wax soda cups, but it was paper with the wax, and I can remember having that in my hand and hearing Living on a Prayer, like whoop, whoop, whoop,
Yeah.
And dude, the gym just erupted. It was just the sound of screaming girls, and I was like, it shocked me. Like, I remember the Coke being in my hand. I can visually recall going, whoa. And like almost spilling my drink. It was so loud. The girls loved that song so much.
That's crazy.
It's funny. Yeah, man, there was a lot of songs like that when it would come on the dance floor. The ultimate for me, and I still to this day think it's hilarious. There's probably something online about it. Is going to a high school dance or a junior high dance and "Say You, Say Me" by Lionel Richie.
Oh yeah.
And what's funny about that song is it was like the ultimate, like, say you, say me, and you get your hand on the girl's back and it's so slow and you're getting so close. And then you think you know the answer. Oh, no. And everybody's like, wait, what? What do I do? And all the bodies on the dance floor just get like super awkward. Like, do we keep slow dancing?
What's going
What are we
on
doing here? And it would happen every time, man. And I didn't. Sad. I didn't dance a lot, but I did get to watch a lot, and I did watch those people do that. I thought it was so funny. It's like, oh, this is that song that sabotages you.
It just gets you every time.
Rude.
So since we're asking questions,
Ooh, here it is.
we got something special for you guys.
Oh boy.
This is, I guess we're not calling this a podcast. We're calling it a broadcast, but it's kind of going to be posted on the podcast. But for the folks that actually come on the regular podcast, Find the Good News, they do the fishbowl, and everybody loves the fishbowl. I've had people tell me they even just fast forward to the fishbowl, and I'm like, how? You got to get the context.
Well, I wouldn't fast forward, but I do love. I told you that's my favorite part.
Yeah,
because you still the show's not over yet. You get to the fishbowl. There's another half hour.
Or maybe even 2 hours. Some of them, you never know. That fishbowl is full of surprises. But we've got something special for our live guests, and it's called the Live Wire, okay? So we've got some challenge questions, and then we're going to have a lightning round. So, Mike, how you want to do this? This is our first show.
You're read one, I'll read one? That
Yeah,
kind of thing?
I'll start and we'll go down and then we'll do the lightning round.
Sounds
And the
good.
same thing on the lightning round. We'll just
Okay.
alternate. All right. So, all right, here we go. Now, you guys at home too, that are or home or wherever these days, if you're using the Mixler app, we're getting a lot of
Tiffany.
comments. We actually want to hear your comments too. And if you have any questions that you want to throw out there before the show ends, you go ahead and throw those in there, but you can play along. So, first live wire question for both of you. Doc Brown shows up in your driveway with the DeLorean. He hands you the keys and runs off yelling 1.21 gigawatts. You get in. The time circuits are on. Mr. Fusion is loaded. What's the red letter date that you travel to and why?
Oh, jeez.
I know.
That's a tough one.
Is
I mean,
it
you know
tough?
what they say about time travel? Like, the first thing everybody should do is go kill Hitler. Like, that's just a thing.
Is that what
Right.
you would do, Mr. Rogers?
Everybody does. Oh, yeah,
That's
Mr.
it, yeah.
Rogers. Yeah, Tom. Would
That's
you,
from a meme or something. I don't remember where
I
I
have.
saw
That is what everybody says. Would you go back and kill Hitler as a baby?
Man,
I would probably. I was born in '93, so I didn't experience the '80s. Honestly, I probably would go back to the '80s. My parents just never grew out of them, so
Yeah.
that's where all of my nostalgia comes from, hearing them talk about it. And I really want to go see if it's as awesome as, epic as everybody says. So
It's awesomer.
that's
Yeah.
a good choice.
That is a good choice. You could
Yeah,
actually go
that's-
back in the DeLorean and watch the making of Back to the Future.
yeah, I could. That'd
That
be pretty
was-
epic.
And don't screw it up and like keep your parents apart or something.
No.
Yeah,
No, I
and we
think
definitely
you're
don't
fade.
want.
Go stare them down at Berkshire Brothers in Oklahoma and be like, "Don't not get together."
Right.
And don't let Eric Stoltz play Marty McFly.
Oh, gosh.
No.
They've been awful.
Well, we wouldn't be talking about
Yeah,
it if you
That's
had.
right.
No.
Tom doesn't want to go back in time.
No, I'd have to
No.
do some research because I'd find the time that had the most toy content on the shelves, and I would load up the trunk of that
load
thing.
up.
Well, I would
Oh,
say
man.
I would just.
Wow.
60s and 70s, I think, in the
Yeah.
early 80s, right in that.
Oh,
That's
dude.
far as
about
the cool
right, right in
toys,
there.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
mid 80s, maybe. Was you'd have Transformers, He-Man.
Pre lead paint. Toys.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
you want to go. I mean, after that, you
After
go
lead paint.
before that, you get all the lead paint, and then,
Yeah,
then you
that's
get into
true.
wooden toys. And,
Right.
you
See,
know,
Tom sounds like the kind of guy, though. He's going to go back and he's going to hang out for like a decade and scoop up all. I want to make sure I hang out long enough to
gotta
get
get
the
all
full
of them.
series.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Then he's going to
while
come
they're on
back with
shelves.
new gray in his whiskers, and
What
so I was
happened
gonna
to
be like,
that
"What
guy?"
happened? Oh, I've been gone for like a
You
decade."
know, I just lived my best life. That's all I did. That's all you can do.
That's a good choice, though. It's not a specific day; it's just a time period.
General, yeah. Find a good time to
Toys.
go and grab as much as I can.
I like that.
with a truck full of mint condition toys still in their packaging.
There'd be a great show next year, that's for sure. We'd have a really good room.
What about you, Mike? Where are you going to go?
I'd like to go back to maybe the 50s.
Yeah.
And not a particular date, but to go to Vegas to one of the casino lounges
Oh, man.
and sit there with a cigar in my hand and a martini in the other and listen to Frank Sinatra live. See him in
Oh,
person.
wow, that's
That'd
really
be
cool,
amazing.
man. That is really cool. I don't know where I'd go. I'm probably a lot of places. It's hard to pick one. I just like to see things like how they look before. I wish I could just jump and jump and jump and go. I don't want to hang out there too long. I just want to go check it out and then like go back a little further and check it out. Even like just this city. I mean, Tom's a building sleuth.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
just to go back to some of those spots and go, oh, there's that building.
That's a good point, yeah.
You know,
from the
just sit in
historical
one
side.
spot.
I
and
think
jump
you would
back.
be. It would be. Well, I think like me too. You'd get to the spot, and you're not going to leave. It'd be a rabbit hole. You'd go down. Oh, look
Oh,
at this.
yeah.
Oh, well, they go down. Oh, they've got that, and then
Yeah.
you go here, and then
You know what I
Yeah.
would tell you, like strategically, if I actually had that DeLorean, I'd have to do a little research too, because I don't want to go back and then have to hide that damn thing. You know what I'm saying?
true,
Because you got to
right.
get rid of it. It's not
Yeah.
like it's like you need to be somewhere where you're kind of pretty sure.
yeah, you don't want the
Yeah.
townsfolk chasing you out with pitchforks.
Yeah,
Get,
UFO.
get you and your iron beast from hell out of here. You know?
So
Yeah.
Vegas is a good choice then. You
Yeah,
just
you
go
fit
hide
right
it on
in.
the strip and nobody will
Nobody's
question
going to
it.
know. Just
Yeah.
blinking lights. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Those are good answers. This is fun. This is almost more fun
Yeah,
than
I
the
like
fishbowl.
this. Okay. Number 2. Your boss saddles you with a personal assistant for 1 week, and it's going to be a prominent figure, mascot, or character from the 80s. You have some choices. Alf, Max Headroom, Mr. Rogers, Kit from Knight Rider, or B.A. Baracus from the A-Team. Who do you choose and why?
Ooh.
Kat, you go first.
I would choose Max Headroom. I just want to match his energy, man. Just been bouncing off the walls. Tom would not know what to do with all of the ideas in the room.
No.
For once, he would have to turn one of them down.
I haven't known you like for a crazy long time, but I feel like his voice, you would murder him before.
Yeah, you
probably
could just
would.
unplug him.
But I'd enjoy
I
it
cannot
at first.
be around this guy. Yeah. Man, they're all good for different reasons, and I mean, I love Mr. Rogers in every way, but how much would he really do around the office?
He'd be a terrible PA.
Whereas B.A. Baracus, that guy would really get things done, but would he like assault anyone while you're break things? And, you know,
Could help with our storage issue.
read them again. What were they again?
Okay, Alf, Max Headroom, Mr. Rogers, Kit from Knight Rider, B.A. Baracus from the A-Team.
That car would be really handy. Like that would be the way to go. Like that way. In today's day, we have everything in the phone though, because it had all that information.
Yeah, but you could get over the river from Lake Charles to Sulphur.
That
you
is
could jump
absolutely
over
true.
it,
Yeah,
or ski over
That's
it.
100% my answer now.
I want one of those.
I want one of those today.
How about you, Mike?
I think Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
I would really like to chill with him.
Yeah.
And just
Talk to the man.
just love on him.
Yeah.
I just love the guy.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I think I kind of was looking at this earlier, to be honest. I could cheat and think about it a little longer. I ended up picking Kit. I just think, I spend a lot of time in my car, and, I don't know, I think it'd be kind of fun just to let him drive for a little while, and I could just listen to podcasts.
Right.
Or listen to him, or just talk to the guy.
Yeah.
Well, he's not a guy. But
You could ride. You could bring me and Mr. Rogers places. We could sit in the back.
You could just hang out and let Kit
would
take
be
the wheel.
awesome.
I think that would be cool.
It's actually a really good point from L80s man.
What's he saying here? Mr. T would be good to help with sales. That'd be the fool
isn't that the truth?
who don't give $1,000
That's a good
to the
one.
Brimstone Museum for the fundraiser. Now pay up, sucker.
Everybody
There you
seems
go.
to. Michelle,
that's called
she wants Kit
extortion.
also.
Yeah, those are actually good answers. Man, they actually got a lot of good answers coming in on the Mixler link.
Yeah, that was a great question too.
Yeah, I like that question. And nobody picked Alf.
Yeah,
He would just mess things up. He'd break all the art, man.
Yeah, and we're both cat lovers. Like
Yeah,
I have
he
a
has
cat
to.
too.
Oh, no, we
I
can't.
need that guy
I'm a
eating my
cat.
cats.
Same here, Alf. Sorry, Alf. You're not going to
Irritating.
get to
Sorry,
eat
bud.
our cats.
Fun, but not this time.
Oh, so this is my turn to ask. Okay.
Oh gosh.
You have to wear one 80s hairstyle for the next year. Which is it? Feathered like Farrah Fawcett, the MacGyver mullet, business in the front, party in the back, teased and crimped to perfection like Cyndi Lauper, close cropped Annie Lennox locks, or go big like Bon Jovi. 1 year, guys.
For a year.
For a year.
A year.
Can I pick Grace Jones?
Hey, you can add your own.
No,
Grace
no,
Jones. Ooh, what is that? Yeah, the Grace Jones flat top.
That's like
or-
a
I
high
love
and tight
Annie
kind of
Lennox and
thing.
stuff, but with the little sideways slant.
Yeah, a
but
little,
no,
little
that's.
tweak.
I'm gonna go with Farrah Fawcett. Who doesn't want Farrah Fawcett?
Yeah, the
hair?
feathered like Farrah.
Something's wrong with you if you don't want that.
So I don't want Farrah Fawcett, but I guess
All right,
something's wrong with
Tom,
me.
prove me wrong.
Oh man, that's a good question too.
You know what's funny is looking at you, I'm just thinking about your Bon Jovi answer
Yeah,
earlier.
and I don't think anything I do would surprise anybody in this area anyway. I'm
Look
not
at
really,
Tom, guys.
Trying to
And like
picture you.
Yeah.
the Bon Jovi big hair.
If it meant that I could keep my long hair once the year is up, I could maybe go for that and then just trim it down like the later Bon Jovi look, because he had some style later too.
Well, let's apply some rules. I mean, you can snap your fingers and grow that hair out. You don't have to start with what you have. You could have
awesome.
that. That's how it is.
Yeah, that'd
for
be
a
the way
year.
to go then for sure. And yeah, I'm totally not, like I said, I don't have a reputation for being high style anyway, so I wouldn't be surprising anybody, I don't think.
Just go for it. Do it for
Yeah,
a year.
Bon
What's
Jovi, man, I'll take it.
It's fun. What about you, Mike?
I've done both. I did that in the 90s. I had really, really long hair.
Really?
Mid back or past my shoulder blades, and I've had longer beards. I've done all of it, and I just came off of a really long hair year. My hair
So
was,
you've already done the big like Bond thing.
I've
huh?
done it. I've done that. Hell, I've done the big like Farrah. I've done
Oh,
that.
yeah, the
I've done
feather.
that.
I
Yeah,
love
I've
that.
actually used to blow dry, feather back my hair back. It's more like Sean Cassidy, I guess. But so I'm just gonna go because I'm already close crop or shorter hair. I'm gonna go Annie Lennox.
Ah, yeah, there you go. I'm kind of safe too. I mean, that if I had to go safe, I'm gonna go. My hair's like shaved off. I mean, so.
but it's got to be orange or white. You
Yeah,
guys.
gotta color it.
I got to
No,
color
no,
it.
no.
I'm
too.
all about
No,
coloring.
that's Annie Lennox.
Yeah.
It's not just the
Yeah.
close crops.
I like the colors.
Man, I think it might be fun just to go with that MacGyver mullet, only because it seems like the mullet's coming back. Like I'm seeing a lot more people like Theo Vaughn's got a mullet.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. I'm seeing a lot more guys like wear the mullet like a style.
I like
coming
it.
back.
I don't dislike it.
I'm not crazy about it.
I don't like the spikes on top and the curls in the back, the perm in the back, like we used to
God.
do
Yeah.
in the 80s. And that's just silly.
Yeah,
But
but
if it's a
MacGyver,
long,
he kind of had the
flowing-
feathered top
Yeah.
and then the long. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go. I think that's what I
You
would
would
pick.
look interesting.
It'd be different. It'd be different, that MacGyver mullet. But maybe I get them MacGyver skills. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
If that
Go
comes with it,
mullet.
then I'm in.
That's
the
what I'm
way to go.
talking about.
All right, next question. You can choose one 80s pop culture item to put on permanent display at the Brimstone. Do you choose 1, Indy's hat and bullwhip? Number
That
2,
belongs in a museum.
Yeah,
a
that's mine.
Ghostbusters proton pack. Number 3, a working Atari 2600 with a controller and asteroids. Sorry. Number 4, the shard from the Dark Crystal. Oh, that's a good one. And number 5, Michael Jackson's red jacket and white glove.
Man,
It's Indiana Jones for me. I'll just
Yeah,
jump right in
that's
there.
gotta
And
be
answer
it.
first.
you
That's-
didn't waste any time with
Oh
this
no,
one.
that one there. That's one of the reasons I work in a museum now. Honestly,
Really?
That's as a child, I loved his style and his
Wow.
He was a terrible preservationist, but he was really good about making it adventurous and fun. But so yeah, that's one that kind of inspired me as a kid, and now like I said, between that and visiting the museum when I was a child, that draw those two together.
I like that. That's where I probably
Yeah.
would be.
I'd have to choose the proton pack because I'm obsessed with old time prop making. I mean, I love watching those behind the scenes videos of like Star Trek props and everything that they do. So I would just sit there and study that thing. You wouldn't be able to pull me away from it.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then we're talking like I'm assuming real. These are the real deal.
Yeah.
Right. Oh,
Working,
yeah.
working proton bag.
Right.
That's awesome.
Get the ghost out of the henny
That's
house.
what I'm talking about.
Could
you,
use some
Mike?
help.
I would say because of Indiana Jones, the movie, those were formative years for me. That fired my imagination. That and Star Wars, anything with Harrison Ford in the early '80s was it for me. So definitely the bullwhip and the hat.
Yeah, I almost would think that for me too, because same thing. Love Indiana Jones. The only reason I probably wouldn't pick it is one, because you guys picked it, and you would already have it. But two, like I think people might question its authenticity. Right? It's like the flip flop. It'd be like, it's like Indiana Jones's bullwhip and hat, and I'd have to argue with them and
No,
tell
it's
them,
real.
no, it's the real one.
Sure it
But I
is.
think the proton pack, I might go with that too, because then I could go, oh yeah.
You could prove it's
And I'll
real.
just pull the trigger and we'll just like show them that this is a real thing. Let me show you. I think it'd be cool just to pull the trigger on that thing and just go
Yeah.
haywire with it. And that's a good question. I like that one too. Okay. Is it my turn? Okay. Rank these movies in order from fave to least.
Oh boy.
What's on the list? 1. Return of the Jedi. 2. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. 3. Stand By Me. 4. The Goonies. 5. Uncle Buck. And 6. Pick your own movie. So if there's something that is not on here, from the 80s, of course. Man, that's a pretty good list of movies. I gotta tell you, I think I know what my top one is anyway.
Okay.
If I had to just say, but I'm not going to till you do. Mike,
That's a
y'all are
good
all
one.
writing down.
Yeah.
I've got documentation to back up my answers.
Yeah.
I've got box office information.
Man, yeah, this is one that maybe should have been emailed ahead of time. You hit the
Oh,
blindside us
and
with this one.
they're good
I
movies.
got to chew on them, yeah, and then choose one that's not in the list too. That's a
Right.
hard.
Just do it. What your gut,
Yeah, what's your gut tell you?
Yeah,
Trying to think of
we're
what-
not going to hold you to it.
when it comes on, like TBS or whatever.
Right,
like, which one
exactly.
stops you in your tracks to watch, no matter what else is on?
Cat's ready.
I think I got mine. My top one would be the one that I pick. It'd be The Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Judd Nelson
Good
is
pick.
honestly
Yeah.
like I want to be him when I grow up. Then I might actually have to put in almost the order that you gave me: Return of the Jedi, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Stand By Me. I didn't love that one. I hate to
Really?
be- yeah, that one. I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't a kid in the '80s, it didn't quite resonate with me.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I put Goonies, Uncle Buck, and then Stand By Me. So,
Yeah, right on. Okay, Stand By Me at the bottom.
yeah,
The cat.
I'm awful.
Poor Stand By Me. Man.
Yeah, that's a
I
great.
don't
The
wanna
short
see a
story
dead
is good. It's
body.
based on a short story called The Body.
The Body.
Yeah.
from
that's right.
Stephen King. That was good too.
Tom's struggling with this
Oh,
one.
Tom, come on, brother.
I know. I
Man,
don't
we really-
have. Okay, so I don't have one that's like the the top one yet, unless we go back, and it's almost going to be like cheating. But the Indiana Jones movies were tip top.
Put it in there, bud.
So,
there you go.
but I can't choose one. Is the problem? I
well,
think
just the trilogy.
I'd have to though. If I had to choose, it'd be the Last Crusade, probably.
That's my favorite.
I liked the choosing the cup at the end and all
Yep.
that business. So,
That's my
no
favorite.
spoilers. Sorry if you hadn't seen it. It's been 30-something years. You should probably watch that movie at this point. But no, I'd say that. Then follow that with Return of the Jedi. That was I don't know, either Return of the Jedi or Empire. I liked Empire a little better, maybe. But then you have Goonies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, which I want to rate that one higher because, like, as a kid, I watched it with my sister quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so that's on my list pretty high. But and then Stand By Me is last. It was never one of my go-to faves or anything. Yeah.
Man, that's interesting. What about you, Mike?
I have now the bottom one is a very far from the fifth one. And
Yeah.
So I'll just go from bottom up. Sixth place, Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
Fifth, only because I love the other one so much. Stand By Me. Return of the Jedi in fourth. Ferris Bueller in third. The Goonies in second place. And of course, any child of the 80s that was born in 1970, let me just paraphrase, clarify that, in my specific age category, would agree that Empire Strikes Back is the best ever.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It is good. It is good. The Star Wars movies, it's kind of the whole package from whenever I was a kid. I get you. It's like a bunch of memories just tied to it, man. I don't know. For me, like, I guess my favorite 80s movie, and I guess it's funny to call it an 80s movie. I think of it as my favorite movie is Back to the Future. I just can't top it, man. I have a list of these movies, like favorite films, and when they come on, I go, oh man, I love this movie. And then I always have that second thought, do I like this more than Back to the Future? No, you don't. And it's just like over. It's really that quick.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie. Yeah. So Back to the Future is number one for me. And then I guess on this list here, I honestly think The Goonies would probably be right under that. It's just fun. I listened to a good podcast the other day with the guy that played Mikey, and he just revealed some cool stuff. I mean, God, I was like, wow, the things you learn all these years later about certain scenes and how they came to be. And you go, wow, these accidents make these movies gold sometimes.
Yeah.
I like Stand By Me. I think I'm going to put that after The Goonies. For me, I just, something about that movie, it touches my heart in a certain way. Return of the Jedi is probably next. It's just kind of the whole Star Wars thing. Uncle Buck, for sure. And then for me, Ferris Bueller's Day Off is last. I just didn't really ever get into that movie. I don't know why.
Maybe I was in high school when it came out, and so we were already doing that. It's just not as cool. We were just skipping school. But, but he did it in a way, it was like, oh, he's the master.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
So that's what, we even watched that at our graduation party, high school.
Really?
That was our thing.
As soon as an
cool.
iconic, like, hits it right in that zone for
Right,
you,
it's
you're in
perfect
that.
for
Yeah,
us.
I get that. Yeah, see, Uncle Buck, man, I learned a little piece of trivia the other day about that if anyone wants to hear. Macaulay Culkin was on a podcast, and he was talking about the scene in Uncle Buck where he's at home and the lady is on the other side of the door and he's looking through the little mail slot and she's trying to get in the house. They came up with the idea from Home Alone making Uncle Buck. They were that scene right there. He told the whole story behind it. It was so fascinating. Cool. They were watching this interplay between the door and the lady on the other side of the door, the neighbor trying to, is your mom home, and all that kind of stuff, and his inquisitive back and forth and his answers, and they were like, hey, we got an idea for a whole movie here, and that was where it was born at.
I like that.
And they called him back in and created that around
Build
that
the
one
whole
scene.
deal. That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that was fun.
Yeah.
This is the lightning round, though. I don't know how we should handle this, Mike. It's super fast. You don't have much time. You can't write these down.
You
just
have
gotta
to shout them out.
Yeah, yes and go.
Yeah, no, you can't analyze or collect data, Tom.
thinking
Why don't
about
we
it.
just
So
do
you'll
one?
call out one. Well,
Yeah.
you'll do. He's going to call out. You'll know what to do. You have to pick one. Answer his quick response, and I'll call it the next one.
Yeah, you can only make one choice. No discussion.
No takebacks.
All right. Michael Jackson or Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Michael Jackson.
Ooh.
Teen Wolf or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles all the way.
Teen Wolf only because I
yes.
don't like the other.
Good job.
Captain Lou Albano or Captain Crunch?
Captain Crunch.
I was a big wrestling kid, but man, I like to eat. Captain Crunch.
Crunch. Hey.
The Breakfast Club or Boy George and the Culture Club.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Oh, wow. I went with Boy George and the Culture Club on that
That would have
one.
been a tough one.
Mad Balls or Mad Max the Road Warrior.
Mad Balls.
Oh, Mad Max.
Oh, I love these divisions.
I still have some Mad Balls in
Oh, me too.
I don't even know what that is, but Mad Magazine. Okay, blue jean jacket or Billie Jean?
Billie Jean.
Blue jean jacket.
That's a tough one.
Cabbage Patch Kids or Garbage Pail Kids.
Cabbage Patch.
Same here, actually.
Really?
I never liked the Garbage Pail Kids.
No,
as a
me
kid.
neither. They're
No,
so
not at all.
gross.
I
It's
loved Garbage Pail
gross.
Kids. Did you
No,
like
I
those?
never got into it. No.
Oh my gosh, I'm the only one. I'm
Not
so
my thing.
surprised. That blows my
It
mind.
would
I was
freak
like,
me
for
out.
sure, everyone's going to say Garbage Pail Kids. Dude, me and my friends couldn't wait. We'd go down, we'd buy those damn things.
Is that more of a later 80s thing?
I don't.
'Cause I have no
it
memory
came
of
out
that.
after the Cabbage Patch Kids came out. It was like a kind of a
Like a spoof on those.
spoof
knockoff.
on them.
Oh,
Dude, I thought they were hilarious.
Yeah,
The
I can
names.
to tell you too, like the Cabbage Patch thing. So I have a little sister, and she had some, and I can still remember the names of her Cabbage Patch dolls. Cause
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Played with them a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us more,
We lived
Tom.
way out in Carlos.
Oh, there's not.
One of
Okay,
them
back
lives with
then
me
there wasn't
still.
anything to do out there.
I took over custody. You know.
I like that, Mike. I like that, Mike. Back then, there was nothing to do out there. He's
He
defending
was
you.
in the woods. Yeah. I lived
What
way
else are you
out
gonna
in-
do but play with your sister's doll?
Right. Of course.
I undressed Barbie many times as a kid back in the 70s.
Oh
As
man,
you do.
me and my sister were just talking about that the other day. I was like, when she would watch Jim and the holograms, and I would play with her Jim dolls. I was always play with Rico, and we'd sit there and
Purple
play.
hair. The
Oh, dude. Yeah, I told her the other day. I said, yes, I didn't ever tell you this, but I actually wanted to like have purple hair like Rico. I thought
Rio.
Rio.
Rio, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Rio. I was like, man, he looked cool, and she's like, I never knew that. I was like, well, yeah, back then I was freaking 10 and you were 6, so I'm gonna tell you, hey, Bethany, I want to
I don't remember those. I guess
Jim and the
another one of
Holograms?
those things.
They came out probably around. It was like Silverhawks and all that kind of stuff was out.
As far as
Voltron.
action figures, yeah, it was. If it did not have Star Wars or Star Trek on it, I didn't. That just didn't. I was a snob. I was a sci-fi snob.
You're a Trekkie too?
Yeah, but back then I was more. It was, more for Star Wars. But now it's equal.
Yeah.
Ooh, Star Wars fans. Hope they don't
The serious
Oh
fan.
man, I wonder
Don't
what
upset
people are
beat
saying.
the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, well we're getting a lot of activity
Some
on
good
the
answers
Mixler
on there.
page. There's some really
Yeah,
good
you guys
answers.
are
This is a
awesome.
lot of fun to actually see what other people. Michelle Cranch Boy.
Cringe boy.
Well, this has been a lot of fun.
This has been.
Yeah. So for this weekend, is there a place where people should go to get information if they just need to? If they didn't get it all on this show, where should they go if they just want to know what's going on? Is a Facebook page?
Pretty much, yeah. The information came in kind of quick, so we're doing it all through Facebook as opposed to our typical website. That's also where most of our audience is for this show anyway. So, it's just the Facebook / Chaos Theory Art Show. That's our page. So you can search for that and find out more information about when things start and where it goes from there.
Yeah, and the event itself, the party is the Brimstone Museum Totally Rad.
Yeah, the Brimstone's Totally Rad 80s party.
Brimstone's
it's,
Totally
It's
Rad.
technically, it's the Brimstone's Totally Rad 80s party, my dudes.
Okay,
That's right.
Yo,
The
My
official
dudes.
did
title.
you say
yeah.
My
that
dudes.
again?
Yes, I can.
That's really good. All right, and so if people just in general want to find out information about Brimstone Museum, Henning Cultural Center, they can always go to your website, which is Brimstone.
Museum.org.
All right, brimstonemuseum.org. It's been a lot of fun. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And I'm happy, I know it. I'm helpless, do I show it? Yeah, the truth I
Thank you for tuning in to Find the Good News Live. If you would like to help me grow the Good News signal, visit patreon.com/findthegoodnews and become a patron. That's patreon.com/findthegoodnews. I sincerely thank each of you for your patronage and for listening to this broadcast.
And I love